The Circle of Knowledge podcast is brought to you by Amplified Minds, helping entrepreneurs and professionals achieve their goals and aspirations by sharing a wealth of knowledge to you, our community of achievers. This podcast features best-selling industry resources, interviews, and the professional panel discussion by the core team at Amplified Minds. Now, here are their discussions. Coming to you from the beautiful city of Heber, Utah, this is Jon Kovach Jr., the host of the Amplified Minds podcast called The Circle of Knowledge, where we like to share the information and nuggets of knowledge received through books, articles, movies, experiences, and life stories. As you engage in our podcast, we want to make sure that you are able to be participating in our community of achievers. As a result of that community of achievers, you're definitely going to learn a lot more of resources to help you take your business and life to the next level. It's becoming a cliche in our world because the cliche of taking it to the next level is various depending on the person and the rigor of the journey that which they need to take. I'm super excited to have today's guest on with us today. Her name is Kalee Eldredge, and Kalee is an incredible individual, professional, and entrepreneur. She is taking a life track that is phenomenal, and it is commendable beyond our reach, and I'm super excited to have this conversation. The book that we're going to be talking about today includes a discussion on the book Bend, Not Break by Pink Fu. And she's one of the CEOs of GeoMagic, and I'm super excited to talk about this conversation with her. So we will jump right into it, and here is our discussion. Kalee, thank you so much for joining me today on the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I'm extremely ecstatic to introduce you to the world. We've got an approximate listening audience membership of about 15,000 people. And generally, these people are the entrepreneurs, the 9-to-5ers, the entrepreneurs, the business owners of the world. And luckily, all of them speak English, or at least most of them do. Otherwise, I don't know why they'd listen to our podcast. I'm super excited to introduce you and to have everyone get to know you before we talk about our book topic. But answer this question as best you can. Who is Kalee, and how has she become her through her upbringing?
Who is Kalee? Well, that is a great question, Jon. Kalee is a young entrepreneur who's really driven. I have not done a whole lot in the business world before. And once I jumped into it, I went with both feet full in. I'm the kind of person who, instead of being really wary, I'd rather be in and then figure out how to swim. And that's kind of what I've done. I met you and I met the team through one of your networking events, and ever since I've been completely hooked. I go to networking events all the time because that's the business I want to have and to develop and grow. I recently just graduated from high school, and I have really enjoyed meeting people. My business that I want to start is called Business Connections. I want to connect small businesses with what I like to call business professionals in long-term contracted relationships, which will benefit both sides of the spectrum in my eyes. I see small businesses finding the help they need and the pieces that they're missing that they get to keep. I don't see myself with a team going in and fixing the group. No, I see myself making an introduction with the long-term vision. And then I also envision this business professionals becoming more successful, either being out of corporate jobs that they don't want to be in, or having a direction. If they're just a contractor, they take on clients, but maybe they're taking on too many. Maybe they don't know where to find their clients. And this allows both to be happier and more successful, because I love people pursuing their dreams.
Now, world in just a minute of hearing her introduce herself. You know why she's one of my favorite persons in this world. Just an incredible person, a fiery personality, excited to take on the world on 2 feet on the ground. Ever since we met her as an 18-year-old who walked into our mastermind, excited to just learn and be a part. You know, it was funny, she projected herself as a 30-year-old. And she stood up, she converted conversations into business talk at one of our high-level mastermind events, and just thoroughly impressive young lady. And we're super grateful to know her, to be a part of her, and to promote her, because essentially she is the future. You know, I'm almost dead. Just kidding. I'm only 30 years old, but it's incredible that we have such incredible young professionals like yourself who take the standard and don't even want to label you as a young professional, because you, in our eyes and from our entire team, see you as, you know, a highly esteemed professional. So we're grateful to have you on, Kalee, and this is more of an honor and a joy for me to be able to just talk with you. Any excuse we get to have a great conversation is an excuse for me. But I want to introduce this to the world and let everyone know that Kalee has endeavored the opportunity to serve an ecclesiastical mission that's going to allow her to go spend some time in another part of the world, where she dedicates a few years of service and dedication to a particular group of people. And it's super awesome. She's going to be speaking Spanish in that, but she has the opportunity to go and change lives in a very, very focused manner, which we think is going to just only elevate her business and her success. So I'm really, really proud and excited to know her and to be a part of that story. But enough about that. Kalee, I'm really excited to talk with you today. You wanted to talk about an interesting book and concept and topic from the book Bend, Not Break by Pink Fu. And I wanted you to just kind of tell our listeners a little bit about why you chose this book, what you learned, and then kind of the knowledge that you wanted to share with everyone. And we'll get into our mastermind portion. But tell me a little bit about why you chose this book.
So the reason I chose this book is based on the storyline, the core of what I believe is the main point. And it follows a girl. Her name is Pink Fu, the topic of the book. And she has a very rough upbringing, communist China, and she's considered the black blood, which is not good. And pretty much she has the society against her. And it goes from that, she comes to America, which I love, which she sees as a land of opportunities, because isn't that true? For so many people, America is a place where they can make themselves up and become what they want to if they have enough perseverance. Then she becomes more successful. But the thing that stood out to me the most, which I want to discuss, is she remained strong to her core and her person. She never really deterred. She always was a hardworking, really passionate, and kind person that I think we can all be.
I love that. That's incredible. And so in the book, you found that there were a few things that really stood out to you, and some things that or let's call them concepts, or even just lessons that you thought would change your world and change the world of anyone you could share it with. What was that exactly?
The big one that stood out to me the most out of everything was in the very beginning of the book. She's coming to America, and she was given a lot of kindness. And she has a quote that says, "When in doubt, err to the side of generosity." And that really floored me, because in its own sense, that's completely profound. Because a lot of people are given the decision. They're like, oh, is this too generous? Is this not generous enough? And why not make it a simple choice? When in doubt, err to the side of generosity and benefit, either in your time, in your resources, err to the side of generosity. It also goes through a couple metaphors of bamboo and how bamboo bends, not breaks. Hence the title of the book, how when put under unbearable pressure, it bends and doesn't break. And when faced with problems and dilemmas, we don't have to break. It also talks about a pine tree and how they're so stoic and they endure the harshest of winters. And then the plum blossom that blooms brilliantly in the winter stands out upon the snow. And to me, that says you can also stand out like to the crowds. And so those 4 things really touched me, and I've remembered them ever since I read.
That's awesome. Something for our audience to know a little bit about us, Kalee, is both of us are pole vaulters. We both know how to pole vault, and the idea of bending and not breaking, it's actually pretty hard to break a pole vault pole. They are
surprisingly so.
It is very surprising, no matter how much pressure. And it's funny because a lot of people are afraid to put too much pressure and bend on the pole when they plant the pole and then throw their weight into it to jump up. But amazingly enough, no matter how much pressure you put, majority of the time of your vaulting, you will not break the pole. And I think that's a really cool lesson to tie in here, because you need to focus on, putting a lot into what you're doing and then allowing that to bend, not break, and not be a part of your journey, not be a part of your experience. Because a lot of the times we do break, but the break happens at a point when we've exhausted our resources, we haven't done the right things, or maybe we're overly overwhelmed by what's at stake. But essentially 99% of the time you will not break, and that's why you should always trudge forward. I think that's a great way to start our conversation and to mastermind this idea a little bit about bending and not breaking, but also using generosity as a form of turning to the resource that you most need when you feel at your lowest, right? So that's kind of an interesting thought. But I wanted to hear kind of your response into the pole vault reference and what you think about that.
Well, I most definitely agree. It's also for me, when I was first going into pole vaulting, I was terrified. I was running at the pit with these long, and guys, just to put this in reference, these poles are 12 feet, 14 feet long, and they're only about 2 inches in diameter.
2 inches.
So they're very small, but also you're running at this giant mat. It's like a 2.5 foot gymnastic mat. And so in theory, you're safe as long as you just land on the mat. But I was still so terrified. And I had to turn to myself and be like, Kalee, they wouldn't let you do this with a coach if it wasn't safe enough. I had to trust the equipment, trust that I had done enough to prepare myself to learn to this point where if I just trusted it and went for it, I knew the pole wouldn't break. I knew I would land safely on the other side.
So in the book, you found that one of the most influential parts of that was in the first section when you read, "When in doubt, err to the side of generosity." I'd love to talk more about that, because in the world, in business and personal life, all of that combined, generosity is one of the main things that can lead to a lot of successes. But I wanted to know why that particular quote taught you the most and gave you some really great inspiration, and what about that is kind of the discussion I want to have.
All right. Well, I think the reason it stood out and resonated so much with me is I've seen or been told about in business the cutthroat aspect, the pushing yourself up and trampling over other people to get where you want to be. I've heard of that's one reason women struggle in the business field is instead of uplifting each other and forming a sisterhood, they are trampling over each other, trying to get ahead of each other. For me, I have been raised with 9 siblings. I come from a very large family, but not only that is I'm at the bottom of the family. And one of the things I kind of started recognizing is how generous my parents were with their time and the resources that they had. They divvied it out so that we could have what we needed. When we went on family vacations, we didn't fly anywhere, we didn't go anywhere extravagant, we went on road trips. And that gave us time, my siblings and I, to be together. And not only time, but I've seen and been the recipient of so much generosity. And I remember one time I was looking at my older sister and I'm like, I feel bad you're buying me ice cream, or turning to a friend, I feel bad you're spotting me or giving me rides all the time. And I kept wondering about it. until I started having that conversation with my youngest brother. He's like, Kalee, I feel so bad. You're giving me all this stuff, or you're like doing all these things for me. And I turned to it, and then that's my brother's name. I said, Kylan, I'm doing this because this is what was done for me. I'm paying forward all the generosity that was given to me, and you can repay me by doing the same thing later in your life, by taking all the things that you were given and paying it forward again. Because I started to realize then, after saying that, is that's what our parents did. That's what our grandparents did. Is you were raised by your parents and you're given so much, and your job then isn't to give back to them directly, is to take all you were given and pay it forward. And that's what I've come to realize, as that mantra keeps repeating in my head. When in doubt, err to the side of generosity. When in doubt, take all you've been given and pay it forward.
I absolutely love that. Since the beginning of time, humanity has always grouped together. They've always stayed in communities. They've built a belonging of vitality through the primitive state of wanting to be together, to not be alone. And all of that is built on service. It's all built on generosity. You know, the mother endures 9 months of, excruciating pain to give birth to the family. And then after that, keeps their lifeline alive and afloat by breastfeeding and by keeping them alive, feeding them. And it was typically the role of the man, which is no longer, to go out and kill the food and bring it back to the cave, right? And obviously now we see today that, both parties contribute, and there's just this level of generosity and service that is given to each other to keep each other alive and afloat. But it's not to always be on the recipient end as a what we call a taker versus a receiver. But what it is it was generated so that we could stay alive, to stay together. And that's kind of a cool concept. But I love what you said, because generosity isn't necessarily something you should be guilty for and guilty of. It is something to receive gladly and turn around and pay it forward. I love that was your perspective on that. Have you seen any other examples in your life where you've either been a recipient of generosity and have paid it forward, or you've paid it forward to someone like your brother or whatever, and they've gone out and done something with it? How contagious is this, and what's an example of your life where you've seen this true?
Well, I think it's vastly contagious. I, in high school, was part of our marching band. I was in it for all 4 years. For the first 3 years, I was just a regular member. I was in the instrument section. I was on the field, marching, making formations. And my first 2 years, I had awesome drum majors. I had awesome leaders, because drum major is the highest leadership position a youth can have in the band. And they loved me, helped me grow. And when it got to my 3rd year, I struggled because I saw things in the leadership that I didn't love. I didn't love how they were being handled. And I saw them as an individual as taking the power and kind of living in it, using it, and almost risking abusing it. And so I decided then, my senior year, I am dead set. I am going to be in that position, and I'm going to help make things better with the things I've learned and be able to help others. And I even helped to grow so much, I knew I could make a difference. I ended up auditioning, and I was in that position. And I was able to give to the band, but I actually hit a roadblock, and I injured both of my wrists. And the drum major is not a percussionist, they're the conductor of the band. That means you need your wrist. And I didn't have mine. And so then I had to face that humbling, and I was so distraught. And I remember my band director took me aside, and he's like, Kalee, I know you're doing your best, and you're here for a reason. I chose you specifically for a reason. And I know that you'll get through this, and you can't give up. And that was generosity to me, with the amount of love and support and faith he had in me. I was able to turn that around, and I couldn't conduct for a while, but then I was able to support the band members. And actually that same year, I remember there was a couple of them who were struggling so much. They were in the same position as I was, where they're in a new part and they didn't understand, and they were learning and they were growing. And I was then able to, with the love and the support I had, I bolstered myself up to being confident and learning and being able to share that then with them. I took a girl aside who was sobbing, and I took her to the bathroom, and I turned to her and I'm like, Becca, that's her name. She was going from clarinet to trumpet, very different for any of you music people. And I turned to her, I'm like, I know you're doing your best, and your best is enough. You can do this, and you're in this band for a reason, so let it make you better. And she was able to then use that and bolster herself up and become more successful in herself. And now I believe she's a section leader. And I hope she'll then take that and help any of her struggling members see, you are enough. You're here for a reason. Let it make you better. Because I was given that love and that support by my band director. I gave that love and support then to her. And then I hope she will be able to give that love and support and faith to another.
The quote says, when in doubt, err to the side of generosity. Why do you think the author said when in doubt? Why do you think that's such a focus of that particular phrase?
I think that's such a focus because a lot of the times we hit those moments where we're like, okay, you have three choices: give up, give in, or go forward. And when faced with that, I think a lot of people give in. And in this case, they give in not to be generous. They give in not to spread their resources, not to give back as much as they can. I think the author specifically wrote err to the side of generosity due to the fact that when given the choice, if you choose the higher road, the road that may be harder, the road that may put a little strain on you, but has the much more positive outcome in the end, then you got to be the bigger person and do it. When in doubt, choose the road that may be darker, but will help everyone more if you're willing to be brave or even courageous enough.
I love that because there's nothing selfish about it. There's nothing selfish about taking, right? It's the selfishness is when you take a resource and you don't use with it as it should be and share it with others, right? That's selfishness, is keeping for oneself. But the selflessness comes and is basically like you mentioned earlier, it is contagious of generosity. It's something that almost creates a wanting to give, and it's a valuable resource in it just by the way it was presented. Anyone can obtain a resource. Anyone can obtain something that was a gift that was given, but when you focus on generosity that was given out of either the mindset that I'm paying it forward, or this is something that I just have to give, it is typically repaid or paid forward by the recipient by the way that it was distributed. Most people will consume resources their entire life. We take for granted how we have so much water, right? And we're given water, but not many people know how that water had to pass through so many pipes and through so many filters to get to our faucet, you know what I mean? And and then as a result, how do we give it back to people? Well, we take care of it. We don't waste it. We recycle. We do great things, but it just becomes part of the process when it is a source of giving out of generosity versus entitlement and just like what we feel is like a free-flowing resource. And I think that's kind of another angle to this discussion, which is when it's presented through generosity, it's typically given and taken through generosity. And when it's given just as an entitlement factor, it's not usually repaid forward. And I think that's kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah. And I also think even if it's given out of entitlement, it's up to the person receiving it. I think it can be flipped. I think the people who have the resources, who may be taking them for granted, when they have an awakening, they can flip it then from entitlement to gift and generosity. Because I think it's almost sad that there's two so separate sides of things. There's the people who are gifted and the generosity, and then the people who are entitled. Because I don't think they're so separate, or they have to be. I don't think one is necessarily the victim. I don't think one is necessarily the bad guy. I think there are the people in the middle who maybe came from one side to the other. I think people can shift sides all the time. But I do personally think that the better of the two sides is the one that pays it forward and gives and serves and helps as best they can. They may not be able to fix everything in any given situation, but I think they could help.
In business, and the reason why we started our company was because we knew that if we gave of all the resources that we had, just as openly and as positively as we could, that it would change lives. And we know that other people are going out there and changing lives. We do have partnerships built within our systems that generate revenues for ourselves, and it is also it creates wealth and prosperity for ourselves. But when we give openly with the intention that the generosity that I'm proposing to people is up for the take, it gives people more excitement to do with what they've just received. And it is the exact principle that we're talking about that we built our business model out of. I just think that there's so much value in providing and openly giving to people, because that girl in the band, she if she didn't have that influence, she may have quit. She may have just stopped altogether. She may not have finished high school. It could have spiraled to even the most extremes. But giving is so contagious that it creates a wealth lifeline of prosperity for its own action. And I think that's kind of a fun little concept to consider is the generosity given lives beyond the giver. And how many things do we do today that have probably been passed on from people before our lifetime?
So many. You think of, for example, the founding fathers. They gave everything. They gave all their stability. They gave all the opening for backlash so that we could have what we have today in our country. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying there isn't problems, but it's in its core very, very good. And we wouldn't have that without the generosity of them. And in effect, every American here, everyone who wants to be with us, that little core of generosity then spread all over to all of us. And even, I guess, they just put themselves at risk to give to the rest of us.
Yeah, it's I love that you bring that up, just because we're kind of history junkies, but the concept of the founding fathers, for some of them, that gift that they gave in freedom actually cost them their lives. It cost them their families. It cost them a lot, but they gave knowing that it would be passed along. I think a lot about today when I am filled with doubt and a lot of I feel like there's a scarcity of resources in front of me. I need to be constantly reminded, and this might just be an activity that everyone needs to conduct themselves, but I need to be constantly reminded that I am alive and there are things in my life that I take for granted, but we're given as a huge sacrifice from others. And I think that's a principle to constantly be reminded of. So, when in doubt, err to the side of generosity, because there has been a lot given, and the generosity lives beyond the mortal life of many.
And when given that generosity, I think it's also important not to not take it. When you're being given that gift, don't see it as being greedy. Realize that if you pay it forward, it's not greed. It's accepting what you've been given and using it to make life better for yourself and for others. Don't leave it just hanging there, open it without use. And I think that is an answer to a lot of people who are too scared. They're like, you are giving me so much, I just feel awful. Don't feel awful unless you don't do something with it, unless you don't use it to benefit others. Because if you do, then you're paying it forward to them. And then it's not becoming stagnant and you're not wasting.
I saw this really cool video the other day on YouTube, and it was, it started out with a random person who was sitting there on the street, pretty down, kind of frowning, probably having the baddest day of their life. And this piece of paper flew up, just kind of got stuck underneath their shoe. They picked it up and read it. And the camera didn't show what the piece of paper said. But essentially what they did was they immediately changed their state. They went from a state of sadness to a state of happiness. And you could see it in their face, right? It was very, very obvious. And then what that person did is they tucked that little piece of paper in their pocket and walked away. Then the next scene is that person seeing another person in a similar state. They were either having a bad day, they had a flat tire or something, and they walked up to him and they gave him that piece of paper and walked away. And that person's state immediately changed. They tucked it in their pocket. And it just kind of went down this whole minute of people picking up the piece of paper, changing their state, and then moving on. And at the end of the video, it discloses with us what the piece of paper said. And it said, smile. It was right. It was so cool. I didn't know that's what it was saying. I didn't know what that was written, but it just said smile. And it just reminds me of a lot of what we're talking about, Kalee, can be in the form of a physical resource or a gift. It can be in the form of wealth and prosperity. It can be in the form of a verbal phrase or just something that you say to somebody. It can be a one-word thing that can change.
Yeah.
Then paying it forward can absolutely change a long line lineage of people and lives. And I think that's so important to realize is that what we're talking about isn't necessarily physical resources. It can be things that have been around since we opened our mouths. It can come from the vocal cords. It can come from the gut and the heart. It can come from a lot of things. But I think it's amazing that paying it forward can be as easy as sharing a compliment. And then what you said, Kalee, was being able to receive it, right? You've got to take it with the intention that I'm going to pay it forward. I love that, because how often do we show our insecurities by when someone says, you look great today, and immediately say, oh, you're just being nice, or thanks, or no, it's actually not a great day for me, or we immediately play it down, and that's kind of an indicator that we're not willing to accept because we can't pay it forward. Mm-hmm. I think there's a level of self-love there that, anyways, I'll wrap that thought up, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, and I mean, it reminds me of a conversation we had just the other day, but I also agree, you need to be able to accept it, and the generosity really doesn't have to be that big. It can be so simple. I've actually started in my, I can't even remember when I started this, but I walk home a couple of times during high school. It was only about a mile, and one of my favorite things to do was to look at people in the eye and smile. And a lot of people looked at me with a question. But my favorite is when I saw another person, a complete stranger, and all I did was smile. Because I don't think people realize the benefit and the large effect of just a smile to someone. I also have decided that no person is never worth the smile. And I'll see people all the time, and I'll meet unique people, and just a smile, I can see how it changes them. And if I smile at them, I think they're more likely to smile at another person. It's that simple domino effect of something. Even It doesn't have to be materialistic. It doesn't even have to be verbal. It can just be recognizing someone or that. And I know it's kind of scary. And there's people who are like, do not talk to strangers. That's what we were told when we were growing up by our parents.
Stranger
Do not talk to strangers. And I had a teacher my senior year over the business course I was in. And she said, don't talk to strangers. But you can talk to strangers. Because otherwise, how else do you meet new people? And you can smile at strangers. You can help people you don't know, even with just that. I can't tell you how many times I've had things where I've just done simple things that I've been taught to pay it forward and just be like kind to people. And how many people have come back and they're like, Kalee, I know you don't remember this, but you once smiled at me or had this conversation with me and it changed me. And I remember it to this day, because the small things can have large effects, and small generosity can change a person's world. And even if you're just changing one person, isn't that enough?
I absolutely love this, Kalee, because we were talking about, generosity and giving. And then the immediate thing that we started to talk about was, give back, pay it forward, through service, through gifts, through resources and so forth. Then it led to words, affirmations and compliments. And then it went to, look, you don't even have to speak at all. You get to use what God gave us, which is your smile, your personality, your excitement. You don't even have to make a noise. You can just make eye contact with someone, give them a nice little grin. I love this concept and principle because it is so simple and it is so easy. And we as humans overcomplicate everything.
So much.
But the truth is, all we need to do is focus on that exact quote that we decided to talk about, which is, when in doubt, err to the side of generosity. It's so interpretive for so many different levels, but what we basically mastermind and discuss it here is that it is capable for everybody at every level, at every part of life. They can accept to do this. And is it mandatory? No. Is it required? No. But man, will it make your life a world of a difference. I just love it. This is what we've done.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. And the truth is, it is completely attainable, and it doesn't have to be hard. I think people often make it too hard. Guys, it's simple. When in doubt, err to the side of generosity, whatever that means to you, wherever you are, whatever station you're at, whatever people you see. It's not hard. It's simple. Don't make it complicated. Because if you keep it simple, it's, in my opinion, very, 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 very much more likely to actually happen, to actually occur. And you can take it on any level. It's adjustable. It's a statement, it's a word, it's a phrase that can be molded and shifted to whatever your personal needs are or the needs of the people around you. Adjust and keep it simple and err to the side of generosity. I really don't know what more there is to say. It's just that simple.
Amazing. Kalee, as a result of this conversation, we've covered some really cool stuff. And I feel like diving deeper below the surface, we've actually created less ambiguity and more specificness with this discussion. What's a challenge that we can issue to our listeners in order to take this to heart? I mean, it could be as easy as just pay it forward, guys. Go for it, But what's a challenge that you can think of that we can issue to our listeners that they can apply in their life today to make this become a habit?
I think we could keep it as simple as choose someone, maybe the grumpiest person you've ever seen, and just smile. They can look at you in the weirdest way, but if you smile, you feel better too. And then if you decide that you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, try the next step. Try complimenting someone. If you're feeling really good about that and you're like, I got that, try the next step. Try serving someone. And if you're good at that, build upon it and pay it forward. And if you pay it forward, let us know here at Amplified Minds, because we want to share the story of the simplicity of it, because it can be successful if you let it be. Our challenge here to you is to start small, and if smile is your comfort zone, go there. But don't stay in your comfort zone. Hit the next level and the next and the next, and see how much it not only changes the people around you, your community, but how much it changes you. And is it that paying forward really just helping you in ways you didn't know you needed to be helped?
I love that. There's an abundance to give, and when you do, there's exponential possibilities that come from it. I think that's incredible. So you guys, those listening to our podcast, know what Kalee has issued as the challenge, and I'd love to hear your responses to this. Send us some messages, DM us, or comment on any one of our podcast channels. Let us know what you think, because this is an incredible lesson. And it's funny how we could go from complicated business talk to as simple as this could change the world. I think a lot of the world needs a little bit more of a smile. I think the world needs more of a compliment, and I think the world needs more positivity. And that can be derived from as easy as using this muscle and this muscle and just bringing them back and tightening them up, because it's awesome. I actually heard, and I don't know if this is a myth, but I'll just say it anyways because I think it's okay, is that it actually requires more muscle activity to frown than it does to smile.
That's what I've heard.
Okay, cool. That's 2 people. So
You're validated by 2 whole people, guys.
Awesome. Now pay it forward. There you go. Free resource for the day. But awesome. Well, Kalee, it's been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you on our podcast, and this will be the first of many discussions. You guys see why I bring her, why I wanted to keep her around my life, because she is an incredible, bright young professional and an incredible person who just knows how to make your day. We just talked about the book Bend Not Break by Ping Fu, and the concept that we discussed was, when in doubt, err to the side of generosity. So take her challenge, go smile at the most grumpiest of looking people or the saddest of looking people, and just see how it changes your day and your perspective. And I promise, and I can just challenge it out today, that it'll make an influence in their life. Kalee, we're excited to have you as a continual guest of ours, and thank you for being a part of the Amplified Minds community. And we look forward to having you again on the podcast.
Glad to be here.
If there's a way that you would invite people to reach out to you if they ever had questions or wanted to talk to you personally about this, what would you say to everyone on how they could connect with you?
I'd honestly say that I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up. I'm Kalee Eldredge, Kalee Eldredge. But you can also email me and reach out to me through Amplified Minds. I'm really close with them, and they'll forward you to me. I'd love to talk to you because I love people and I love making the world better in the simplest of ways.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for being on our show, and we appreciate you. For those of you listening, this is us, the Circle of Knowledge through Amplified Minds, and we're grateful to have all of you a part of our community. Go pay it forward. Hey, this is Jon with Amplified Minds. Thanks again for listening to the show. We really hope you enjoyed the Circle of Knowledge podcast. If you like the Circle of Knowledge podcast, go ahead, subscribe, rate us, and if you give us a 5-star review, we promise to give you a personal shout out here on the air. Just watch us. To learn more about Amplified Minds, go to our website at amplifiedminds.com. That's AMPLIFIEDMINDS.com. Through our website, you can join any one of our mastermind groups from anywhere in the world. In the mastermind groups, you and other members of the community of achievers can mastermind and talk about all of your aspirations, your dreams, your goals, and even the challenges you face. Whether you're a business owner or an entrepreneur or anything else, you can achieve your goals through a mastermind group. You should also check out the Amplified Minds Accountability Program. where you can gain access to a one-on-one personal accountability coach, somebody who will contact you weekly and motivate you, hold you accountable, follow up, and give you the proper resources that will help you to go out and achieve all your goals. Hey, shout out to all you coaches, speakers, mentors, the superheroes of the world. We have the perfect program for you and your audiences. We have the capabilities of setting your audience and communities up in private mastermind groups and assign them a one-on-one personal accountability coach where they can help your people achieve the things that they're working towards tailored to your programs. For more information about this, go ahead and send me an email at Jon, that's Jon, at amplifiedminds.com. I look forward to hearing from you.